All right, it is right at 10. So while everybody else is still trickling in a little bit, I wanted to introduce myself. Hi, I'm Bailey from XPM, and I'm going to be keeping us on track today. We've woven 4 different chocolate tastings throughout this event, and to ensure that we get to them all, I'll be watching the schedule on everyone's behalf. While we wait, if you haven't entered to win our grand prize, be sure to see the back of your golden ticket for directions. You're going to take a picture of this ticket and post it on LinkedIn with the hashtag XPMGoldenTicket. Once that is done, you should receive a confirmation from our XPM page saying that you've been entered. All right, Tony, whenever you are ready, we still have a few people coming in. So if you want to make your quick introduction, I think now's a great time.
Okay, thanks, Bailey. Hello, everyone. Welcome to XPM's Golden Ticket for Work Management event. We'll be imagining Willy Wonka's Jira Work Management implementation. Come with me and we'll be in a world of Jira automation. And then, of course, the better part of the day, we're going to be sampling some amazing treats from our chocolatier who is actually on site with us today. Now, as Bailey just mentioned on your golden ticket, we have a grand prize to give away. So after our last tasting, so be sure, and if you haven't gone to LinkedIn yet and shared your golden ticket with the XPM Golden Ticket hashtag, you have time until our last pairing. Our time today, we want to introduce you to XPM, our company. We are a platinum Atlassian solution provider. We want you to meet some of our team members at XPM, so like me and my colleague Vicky and Bailey and others. And then, of course, our very special guest today is Maggie Mobley. She is the owner and chocolatier at Bijou in the St. Louis area. But first, I think we need some chocolate. Bailey, what do you think?
Oh, I agree. Thank you for that introduction, Tony. As I said before, hi, my name is Bailey Spence, and I'm a part of the project coordinator team here at XPM. It's so nice to have you all with us today, and I'm certainly pleased Maggie from Bijou Chocolates is joining us today. Maggie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. So my name is Maggie. I'm the owner of Bijou Chocolates. It's a local St. Louis chocolate shop that we specialize in handcrafted bonbons that are hand painted and other kinds of little candies and goodies and treats.
That is awesome. Okay, so I have a poll that I want to send out to everybody just to see what chocolate you're looking forward to the most. So I'm going to go ahead and open this and we can look at these beautiful chocolates together. Oh, wow. These are beautiful. They just look like little jewels. Like you said, they are absolutely gorgeous. What's the first one that you're going to want us to try today?
I'm probably going to go with the passion fruit first, which is going to be the square chocolate that has kind of a pinkish, it almost kind of looks like a watercolor streak on it. So that's going to be the only milk chocolate option that we have. It's going to probably be the lightest one. So I feel like it's probably the easiest one to sort of start off at a 10 a.m.
A 10 a.m.
time frame.
Exactly. Okay, I was going to say, Maggie, if you want to eat with us, you have a box of chocolates.
Sure.
Don't feel pressured. I'm sure you eat tons of chocolate
I
all
do
the
eat
time.
tons of chocolate all the time.
Okay, so while we're getting ready to do that, let's see. Oh, people are still filling that out. Looks like a lot of people are excited for that dark chocolate, which is the one with the XPM logo.
Correct.
I just can't get over how beautiful that is. Okay, let's all take a little taste of this guy.
So it's going to be tart and tropical, pretty light considering how early it is, and also the milk chocolate kind of helps cut through how tart the passion fruit's going to be. So it's not overly sweet with the milk chocolate aspect of it, but it's also not overly tart because of this. It's kind of a good balance of the two.
That's awesome. So how can you walk me through kind of how you made this and then how you got that design?
Yeah, so specifically the square ones are a little bit of a different technique than like the round and shiny ones. Generally those are made in one really big batch where you have kind of a frame, and so you'll make one big amount of ganache and pour it into this square frame, and then that gets cut into the smaller squares, and then it gets run through what's called an enrobing machine, which is essentially the conveyor belt with a chocolate waterfall on it.
Cool.
And so everything kind of runs through this conveyor belt and then gets coated in chocolate, and it kind of bounces off excess chocolate, and then it has a fan blower, and then between the waterfall and the fan blower is where you'll pipe on the color. And then the reason it looks like that is because you sort of blob on this colorant and the fan blows it off and kind of gives it this cool sort of flowy design of sort of, like I said, watercolor kind of streaks of color.
That's awesome. That sounds like a real life Willy Wonka factory over there. That is so cool. Vicky and Tony, what did you guys think of that chocolate? Have you guys taken your taste yet? Oh,
I had to unmute first. That was awesome, man.
You should have heard Tony's first reaction, which was just, oh man. I've never had passion fruit before. That is really good.
That was delicious.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. I want to hear a little bit more about you. So can you just kind of give me a rundown? How did you get into the world of chocolate? Your name, where'd you go to school? And then like, when did you want to know that you were a chocolatier?
Yeah, so it's a pretty cut and dry story. I went to Mizzou. I thought I wanted to be a graphic designer. I realized I don't like calculus and kind of had to reevaluate my life based off of how little I wanted to do math. So I sort of took a step back and thought about all the things I loved to do as a kid and like a teenager. And my aunt had worked at a cake bakery and made cakes, like wedding cakes and things. And when I was really little, she would bring me extra icing and show me how to pipe flowers and borders and write. And so I always thought baking was really cool. And there's an aspect of giving someone a baked good that always just kind of like made me feel really good. Because it's like, who doesn't enjoy receiving something that you kind of crafted and made for them? And so with that in mind, I graduated from Mizzou with a hospitality management and business degree, and then I went to pastry school in Chicago. And so while at pastry school, they require you to have internships throughout. I mean, and it's very lax of an internship. It can be one day, it can be a long-term thing, it can be where the school is at or wherever you want. And so I applied to 3 or 4 different places to kind of see what was interesting to kind of, get my toes wet, because pastry school is really comprehensive, kind of shows you everything.
Yeah.
And so I kind of went into it thinking maybe cake, but I wasn't really sure. And there's so many options with breads and pastries and ice cream that I was sort of overwhelmed. And one of the first places to get back to me was a hand painted chocolate shop, which I had never seen before. Yeah. And I kind of walked in and was like, oh, well, this is cool. And it was one of those, they didn't tell me to stop coming. I didn't stop. I just kept showing up. And then eventually like 6 months passed and they were like, do you just want to work here? And so that was kind of where I was like, awesome. I think this is what I want to do. And so I, finished pastry school, but worked with them the whole time I was there. And once I came to them and said, like, I think this is what I want to do when I graduate, they kind of took me under their wing and showed me a lot more of the finer aspects of why we do it this way, why this works and this doesn't, and sort of, explained it to me in a little bit more detail than my school did. And so that was kind of the moment that I was like, this is what I want to do. And then it was sort of moving back to St. Louis, where I grew up, and trying to find if it existed here and where I could work. And then it didn't really.
Yeah. I was going to say, you're one of the only ones I've seen.
So I worked at one place that did something relatively similar to this, and then they kind of decided they were no longer going to they shut everything down. And so I came to a crossroads of either I leave St. Louis or I just do it myself. And so I didn't really, I'm a bit of a homebody, so I didn't want to leave. And so instead I just kind of did it myself. Bijou is French. It just means jewels in French, or jewelry.
They do look like little jewels. They are so shiny.
When out and about, if nobody really knows what it is, it's a common comment of like, they look like marbles or stones or jewelry or something. And so, funny story, everything related to chocolate that already exists as a chocolate business. And so trying to find a name was very difficult. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is such a wonderful story of finding your passion. That is fantastic. Just judging off that first chocolate, you did it right. So thank you so much, Maggie. Sure. Just as a reminder, we're going to be giving away a grand prize right after the last tasting, but I want to give you a sneak peek into what today's grand prize is. So if you can stay away from the fizzy lifting drinks, one of the items that we have is, it's a 16-piece box of Bijou chocolates. And I believe this includes all of the chocolates we're tasting today and then some.
And then some.
Oh my goodness, that is going to be awesome. So this will be shipped directly to the winner. So stay tuned at the end for that. Up next, we're going to hear from Tony, who's going to show us creating a new project in Jira Work Management. Tony, take it away.
Thanks, Bailey. Let me share my screen here. And boy, was that chocolate wonderful. Thank you. And the lesson is, if you want to guarantee attendance at your meetings, offer chocolate. So
new XPM standard.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So as Bailey said, my name is Tony Hartsfield, and I'm a business consultant here at XPM and an Atlassian certified professional. And so while I work with lots of the Atlassian products across the sphere, one of my favorite things to do here is when I get to teach the Jira Bootcamp and the Confluence Bootcamp. And I love in the Jira Bootcamp how you spend a couple of days together and they're building all the elements of a project, and at the end of it they look at it and see all the pieces they made, and that they've got this working project. Or even if something is not quite right, we can troubleshoot together and find what was going on. And that moment of a gestalt, if you will, when everything kind of comes together, that to me is one of my favorite things to do as a teacher. So hey, I don't know what your experience is with Jira Work Management, so maybe we could have a quick poll to say, are you a seasoned pro? Are you new to Atlassian products? Or are you just here for the chocolate? Which there's no offense at all. We
A respectable answer, honestly.
So no matter what your background is, we're pretty sure that you're going to be able to grasp what we're sharing with you and what Vicky has to share as well. So with Jira Work Management, it's the ability to quickly ramp up projects because it has templates and this intuitive visualization options. It really is an ideal product for the smaller organizations or teams that really just want to track their project tasks. And you don't have to be in IT to utilize Jira Work Management. In fact, the examples we're going to show you are not IT related teams, they're non-technical. So let me first off just kind of show you some of the basics here about, I'm going to be working with out-of-the-box elements, and then Vicky is going to show you some of the customization things that you can do that she does so well. So, but here I'm looking at the Jira Work Management, and if I wanted to create a new project, it's so easy to spin one up. You just click the Create Project button, and built into this are all of these templates that you can use for creating a project, and there's a bunch of them in here. And I'm going to stay in the ones that are just work management. Just a little word of advice: if you step outside of some of these other categories, say for instance service management, what can happen is if you choose one of these templates, you'll notice that it'll have a product that you may not have in your instance. And so at that point, then you're trying the product for a period of time. I want to stay really just within work management because we already have that in this instance. And by the way, this is just a standard instance. There's no need for, well, I think there's only standard offered for.
There's a
Jira
free
Work
and a
Management.
standard option.
Right, so we're going to just stay in the standard one. And just to be easy, I'm going to stay at the very top and just say, okay, I've got a project team, my team A, and their work, they just want to track what's going on. So I'm going to follow this template and create a basic one. And so here you're seeing a brief description of what it's going to do. It is a Jira Work Management project, who they recommend it for. So maybe it is a web design team that I have that I'm working on. I just want to track some basic tasks. It's going to have just the issue type of task, and then underneath that of subtasks. It has a very straightforward workflow of simply to do, in progress, and done, and many ways to visualize that information. Probably the most common one might be a Kanban board, where you just simply have the 3 columns and your team can move the tasks along the Kanban board. So I'm going to use this one. So I will click Use Template. The next is to give it a name, and so I'll call this Team A Project. It is the project management template. Now, there's a question here about whether this should be created by team managed or company managed. And there are a couple of reasons why you might consider a team managed. It truly is for the small groups that are completely autonomous and are going to manage the project all themselves. But we here at XPM might recommend a company managed. Vicky, you got some thoughts on that one?
Yeah, a company managed means that you are able to share the configuration items across other projects. So we work with a lot of organizations who are attempting to standardize their Jira somewhat and also scale that across their enterprise. And really, if that is something that you are looking for, you're going to want to stick in that company managed category here, because that means that administrators have the ability to share things like workflows, issue types, fields, etc., across those multiple projects. And that just makes standardizing and scaling that much easier. You do lose some of that functionality with the team managed projects. It sort of creates a little bit of a silo, if you will, where each team is in control of their own process and information.
So there are uses for both, but
Absolutely.
we at XPM tend to still recommend the company managed. And so I'm going to go with that because I might want to borrow some of the things that Vicky's creating in her customized area. So I'll leave this with the I'll leave it, call it TAP. And this is where I could, if I was borrowing from another project, I'm just going to go ahead and keep it at this template and click Create Project. And so it really is that fast to get started with it, okay? Let me move to an existing project though. I've used one of the other templates, and that's the onboarding one. And I'm going to go to my project settings, view all the projects, and choose that new employee project. And here, again, looking at the Kanban board, I can see the people that are on my board, and I can, as they're coming on board, I have the paperwork, they get their IT provisioning, then they finish with the review, and then they're finished with their onboarding. I can just simply move these people across the board as they're brought onto the company. It's easy to create a new one. And so we've got a new employee coming along. Notice here my types are just the one issue type in this project. It's just one person. And so I'm going to have this is going to be Grandpa Joe. We finally talked him into joining us. I can have an attachments area. Maybe this could be either a resume or the job responsibilities from the management team, whatever makes sense to that, an image for the identification card or whatever. You want to set your due date of when they're starting. I've got a few people starting next week, and so I want to make sure I have that. And then who is the reporter of this particular issue, whether it's, in this case, Vicky is set to be the reporter or me. I can do when's the start date. The start date is going to be on the 6th. Again, you have all these other fields that you can fill out. I'm just going to click create, and so I have that base in there. And then I see that Grandpa Joe is now on my board. So it's easy to spin up a project. It's easy to start adding them and to take advantage of some of those templates. Whew, I'm tired. I think we need some more chocolate. Bailey.
Thank you, Tony. When we come back, we're going to hear from Vicky in a different part of the factory. But before we get to that chocolate tasting, let's talk a little more about that grand prize. So just as a reminder, you need to enter to win. So take a picture of this golden ticket and post it to LinkedIn with the hashtag XBM Golden Ticket. So what are you going to win? We've already talked about our 16-piece of Bijou chocolates. We're also going to throw a prize in from one of our partners located in Paso Robles, California. Maggie, do you know anything about that region?
I know it's got a lot of wine. I know probably the weather's beautiful.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Both are correct. And if you were thinking wine like Maggie, you would be correct. So this is a Californian Bordeaux blend retailing for about $55. And this is actually an XBM exclusive label, which we think is really, really neat. So we'll be sending you this bottle. I bet this would pair amazing with some of your chocolates.
I bet it would pair with a lot of chocolates. Most red wines will go pretty well with a good variety of darks, raspberries. There's cherry chocolate at the shop. There's salted caramels. There's a lot.
Sounds like a lot of the stuff that's in the 16
There's
piece.
a lot of things that would be in the 16 piece that would go well with that, for sure.
That is awesome. I wish I could enter to win this. I know I can't, but oh well. Okay, Maggie, what do you have next for us? What are we going to be trying? And tell me about how it was made.
Yeah, sure. So I think we're going to go catty corner and go ahead and grab that blue swirly round one. So that one's going to be black currant balsamic dark chocolate. So it's a 63% dark chocolate from Peru specifically. So all the beans come from the same region. So very similar to wine, chocolate beans that are all grown in the same region are going to have their own characteristics. And so everything from Peru it's very, it's blue fruit, I guess. It's like blueberries, blackberries, sort of that black currant. So it's kind of tart and sweet, and then kind of paired with the balsamic, which in itself is kind of a wine and chocolate pairing all together, where you get kind of the fruitiness of like a red wine, kind of the balsamic-y, kind of all wrapped together. That one specifically it's 3 different colors just kind of swirled together. So with the shaped ones, it's a mold is the shape. It's a polycarbonate plastic mold. To get the shine, you need to make sure the mold itself is really clean. Chocolate that's been properly tempered, which has to do with the temperature and the crystal structure of the chocolate, will reflect the surface it's been tempered against. So if the surface is really shiny and smooth, the chocolate will be really shiny and smooth, but it all comes down to the temperature and the crystal structure, which is hilarious because I hated math, but I went to a really, really chemistry heavy sort of industry anyway.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to take a really clean mold, and then from there you can kind of paint it however you want, whatever designs you want. But yep, that one is just kind of swirled with a bunch of different colors, just with my finger.
It is beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it tastes so good as well. I wasn't really sure about the balsamic. When I think of balsamic, I think of salads.
Yeah,
so I
you
was
think
like,
probably like
"Ooh."
aggressively vinegary, and it's really not. It sort of cuts through the bitterness, and it just gives this kind of like tang, kind of like a tannin of
Yes.
a red wine.
Absolutely. I think that one's my favorite so far. Vicky and Tony, what did you guys think about that chocolate?
So unique. I think I'm becoming a bijou groupie after this. I'm
Yeah.
gonna stalk this store and try all of them. Oh my gosh,
That was
so
great.
good.
I'm going to stay with the passion fruit though so far.
Okay, so these are amazing. Is there anything that you have that's like a fan favorite? Like, could I come and get these all the time at the store, or do your flavors rotate?
So the shop has a big glass case that has upwards of 18 different flavors in it.
Oh, wow.
12 of those are year round. 12 of those I have at all times. Those are the 12 you're going to find listed on my website. That gives me about 4 to 6 to play with for seasonal flavors. What you see in front of you are technically 3. So the passion fruit, the raspberry, and the blackcurrant are all year round. The
Okay.
72% is a new one that I just released recently, but I like it so much it's probably going to become a 13th year
Oh,
round.
definitely.
So technically, yes, you probably will be able to at any point in
Oh,
time
that's
come in
awesome.
and get these at any time.
That
Yes.
is awesome. Okay, so how do you come up with these flavor combinations? Where do you pull that inspiration?
Yeah, a lot of them are, some of them are just things I've had before or just sort of classic. Easily the most popular 2 at the shop would be the salted caramel and the brown butter vanilla, which you really can't go wrong with salted caramel. I always knew that was going to be a
absolutely.
flavor I was going to have. In terms of this, raspberry and dark chocolate to me is a very classic pairing.
Mhm.
I worked somewhere a long time ago that had a passion fruit milk chocolate, and that's why I was like, this is my favorite.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make this regardless of if it's classic or not, but it was my favorite, and so I kind of brought that in. A lot of other things are based off of if I'm ever out at a restaurant and I have a really good cocktail.
Ooh, that is awesome.
Yeah, so whether or not the alcohol makes it into the chocolate or not, a lot of times, like especially if you go and have like a tiki drink and there's all those really cool tropical flavors of the coconut and the mango, and so anytime I have a drink that I really like, I usually have I have a big list on my phone and I'll type it in of just whatever flavors were there. Or if I have alternatively, like any dessert I ever eat, if I like the flavors of it, I can probably turn it into a chocolate.
Oh, that's
and I
so
also
neat.
kind of like the challenge of it.
Yeah.
Because I made baklava into a chocolate.
Oh my goodness.
And so that was mostly just like my husband loves baklava, and I was like, I think I could do this.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a combination of things that I enjoy, things that I kind of run across in the wild, or things that are just really classic, traditional. Like you can't not have a salted caramel.
Oh,
so
agreed.
You kind of have to play both sides of the field.
That's awesome. Okay, so what's the craziest chocolate combination that you've had?
I probably jumped the gun on the baklava one because that was probably one of the coolest ones I did because it was very laborious, but it ended up turning out really good. What else have I done that's kind of crazy? I want to say, I guess it depends on your definition of crazy, because I've made like pumpkin pie into a bonbon.
Oh, cool.
I've got one over there now that has shortbread in it.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's kind of like shortbread cookie.
Yeah.
Meringue pie, stuff like that.
I still think baklava takes the cake.
I know. I really jumped the gun on that one. That one was really good. That was probably the most me trying to be. I did a cannoli too. So I guess between the cannoli and the baklava, those were the 2 where I was like, I don't think I've seen this before. So I felt a little different, experimental, a little Willy Wonka, if you will.
That is right. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Maggie. We're going to kick it back to Vicky, who's going to show us some customization. So Vicky, would you like to take it away?
Yes, thank you for that tasting, Maggie. Like I said, that was so unique and so delicious. Before we get back into Jira Work Management, let me further introduce myself. My name is Vicky Bodorf. I, like Tony, am a consultant here at XPM, and as an Atlassian certified individual and a safe program consultant, I work a lot with Atlassian's portfolio management tools like Jira Software, advanced roadmaps, Jira Align, and sometimes I show up and eat chocolate and talk about Jira Work Management too. So that's obviously what we're going to be doing today. And I want to go ahead and jump back into the tool, talk a little bit about how we can customize Jira Work Management, and also take a look at a couple more of the visualizations that we have within this product. So Tony just showed us a really great example of how quick and easy it can be to really use the out-of-the-box templates that do come with Jira Work Management. That is a really, really high point of the tool, I think. It really speeds up the creation of projects and the onboarding of new teams. I think if Tony wasn't demonstrating and explaining, it probably would have taken about 15 seconds to really push those buttons, and voila, you have a brand new project. Additionally, with the suggestions of issue types and workflows that come with those templates, I think it really does help ease some administrative overhead that Jira administrators often feel. The templates are, again, a great piece of the tool, but almost every time we talk and demonstrate those, the next question that we hear is, what about that unique situation or scenario that I have in my organization that doesn't just neatly fit into one of these out-of-the-box templates? And if you are wondering that at this point, I have really good news for you. Jira Work Management is also highly customizable. For anyone who's familiar with administrating Jira software or Jira Service Management, I know we had some seasoned pros on the call. Really, most of the customization opportunities that we have with those Jira products are available in Jira Work Management as well. To demonstrate this, I do want to talk about this ideation project that I have on my screen here. So whenever I was thinking about a custom project that we could make, I thought of some recent requests I've had working with customers who really want to have the ability to collect ideas in mass across their organization. And there's lots of ways you can solve for this in the Atlassian ecosystem. You could absolutely use something like Confluence, Jira Software, Jira Service Management, but today we're going to talk about solving for that need in Jira Work Management. So I did start this project from scratch, but before I get into it, I want to mention that you can also customize those templates. You can spin up a template and make edits to the workflows and anything I'm going to show you here today. As I was creating this project, I thought, what type of work are we really trying to track here? And well, we're trying to track ideas. We want people to submit ideas, and then we want to research those, review those, and figure out if they are something that our company is going to pursue or not. So I just kept it simple, and I created this new idea issue type. Jira Work Management allows us to create whatever custom issue types we need to allow our teams to easily track, manage, and measure the different and unique types of work that they are working on. After I created that issue type, I then thought, okay, what process are we going through to actually research and understand these new ideas? And for that, I created a custom workflow, which I'll pull up now. Whenever I created this workflow, I really added mostly brand new statuses to the system. Accepted was the only existing status whenever I created this. So you're able to add these custom statuses. You can add in your transitions. You can also make really linear workflows as well. And something unique about Jira Work Management is that each of these statuses is going to automatically be represented as a column on that board that Tony was showing. So it really does ease some of that management as well. For anyone who is familiar with creating workflows in Jira products, we also have a lot of those advanced workflow features with Jira Work Management. I know we work with a lot of clients where we're helping customize workflows, really leaning heavily on those features. So we do have those as well. Also in Jira Work Management, we can create custom fields. I made this custom business case field asking people to really give us an example of why this is going to be beneficial for our business. Over here in the context panel, I also added in this multi-select list of departments, what departments might be needed to actually realize this idea, and who's the requester, who submitted this idea. In this case, this was Tony's idea for the Wonka bar.
Gotcha.
And then we can still assign that work to someone else as well. Jira Work Management also allows us to have custom components, custom notification schemes, and even custom permission schemes if you're on that standard level of Jira Work Management. Being able to really customize these projects just takes Jira Work Management even further and allowing us to really account for any of those unique situations or scenarios that we may have with our teams. Continuing with this ideation concept, I now want to flip over and talk about the form functionality in Jira Work Management. This is one of my favorite pieces of the tool, and I want to show you how quick and easy it is to set one of these up. But before I do so, I want to show you what it looks like from a user perspective, so we all have an idea of what we're discussing. So I'm just going to switch tabs here. And here we have just a simple form. Really, it's just, I think, 5 questions here that I can just fill out. As long as I have permission to create issues in this project, I can utilize this form to submit my idea. Let's just go ahead and type this out. Vicky's new candy idea. Really, really going unique with that concept here. Give us a description of your idea. The best candy ever. And what's the potential impact to the company? We're going to make millions. We're just going to make a lot of money off of this candy idea, Tony, I tell you. What departments are needed? I can make my selections here. And who's initiating this request? Why, it's me. I could also attach any relevant materials here, as Tony was showing in the new employee project. We have the ability to add attachments in Jira Work Management. And when I'm done, I just press submit. And just like that, I've submitted my idea to the ideation team for them to now take that through the ideation process. Let's jump back into the project and see what happened over here. If I go ahead and let's see if it was added or if I need to refresh.
Oh, there it is.
Right here at the bottom of my board, I now have Vicky's new candy idea. As I open this up, if you read through some of these fields, you might recognize some of the information that was input, and you're probably a step ahead of me already. Really, the way that the form works is it connects a field on the form with a field on this issue. It's a one-to-one mapping, and that means that as users are actually filling out that form, it's dumping that information into our issues here. What also is great about this is we can pick and choose what fields show up on that form, which means that as a part of the ideation team, I see a lot more fields here on my screen, allowing me to really collect that data that is necessary for us to take this through the full workflow, but doesn't put unnecessary fields on that form for our users. So really, the form really does create this really quick intake process for situations like this ideation concept. Now let's jump into the Forms tab here and just take a look at how quick and easy it is to create this form. I think this is one of the most user-friendly startup ideas or functionalities in Jira, really any of the Jira products, I think. As you can see, here's the form that I already was showing with my fields. You can tell that after my question of this, I also see the name of the field, so I can easily see what field this is actually mapping to. And if I wanted to add a new field, all I have to do is drag a field over here on the right and drop it here on the form. And all of a sudden it's there. That's how quick and easy it is. If I want to, I can press this little edit button and I can say, when should this be finished? I find when you're using these forms, it often helps to put a question there. It's a little bit more prompting to the end user. And if I want to rearrange these, it's a drag and drop as well. If I decide later I don't want this field on my form anymore, I can pull it back to the right-hand column or just press this little hide button and it does it for me. Once we have customized this form, we can either preview it, which is what I was doing previously. It opens it up in a new tab, or we can share this. We can either send it directly to a team member, or we can copy this link and send it in a chat, in an email, put it on an intranet site, or even put it on a Confluence page.
So useful.
So useful, so quick and easy. Again, every Jira Work Management project can have one of these forms, and I really think it can just speed up the intake of issues, especially when you have a broad set of users who maybe aren't as familiar with creating issues directly in Jira. Next, I want to flip back to the board here, and I mentioned Confluence briefly whenever I was talking about sharing that link, and I just want to talk a little bit about how Jira Work Management still integrates very nicely with our other Atlassian tools, particularly Confluence. I think when we work with Jira Work Management, we often see that teams are also using Confluence, which of course is Atlassian's wiki-style documentation tool that is really great for collaboration, especially for remote teams. And sometimes it's just easier to create pages to house information about issues. and then link them. So here on this chocolate ice cream that never melts idea, I can just quickly click on this Confluence page, and it takes me right there. It takes me to this linked page. It's loading a video. I'm going to come back to that in just a second. But I just want to show you that over here, we just have lots of more information about this idea. I can also quickly jump back to my issue in Jira Work Management as well. So really this integration between the tools is a real highlight of using both Jira and Confluence, and it is absolutely doable with our Jira Work Management tool as well. Before moving on, I want to give a quick sneak peek to our grand prize. This is that 16-piece box of chocolate. Hopefully, it just looks so amazing. Again, it has the 4 that we're tasting today and even more. If you want to enter to win, it's not too late. Post a picture of your golden ticket using the hashtag #XBMGoldenTicket, and we'll be announcing that winner later on today. All right. I have one more thing to show you in Jira Work Management, and then I promise we will get back to the chocolates. I know that's why we're all here, but I do want to show you the issues view of Jira Work Management, because I think this is one of the really powerful pieces of any Jira platform. If you're an experienced Jira user, you're probably really familiar with this. If you're new to the tool, almost all of the Jira products have this view, and it's a way for us to filter through the issues in our project. We have a couple of different visualizations here. We can view this as a list over here on the side with our issue detail view here that allows us to click into this and quickly edit it. Also over here on the left, we have some quick filters. We can click on My Open Issues here, for example, just filter it down to the issues that are assigned to me. And we also have some searching capabilities. I'm going to switch this to basic here and just show you that you can just use these quick toggles to really easily filter down to find specific issues that you may be looking for. Afterwards, you can export these issues, you can share this filter, and you can also utilize that advanced searching in Jira or the Jira query language, JQL. This is what that looks like. If this looks like a foreign language to you, don't worry, it always starts as a foreign language to any new Jira user. But I always like to mention that you can use the documentation from Atlassian from this little question mark, and it's really helpful. It's how I started learning JQL. I think it's how you started,
Absolutely.
Tony. Most of us here at XVM use that. So anytime I show that, I like to say that there is a way to learn it, and it is really helpful whenever you have that opportunity. All right. That is all I have to show about Jira Work Management right now. Let's go ahead and get back to the tasty chocolates. Bailey and Maggie, back to you.
Thank you, Vicky. So the last element of that grand prize that I want to discuss is a ticket to our next live online Confluence bootcamp. I think my colleague Kylie is going to send a link to that in the chat just so you can read a little bit more about it. This is going to be a one day of learning all the tips and tricks of Confluence. With Confluence, it's really about working smarter. This class retails for almost $500. So just to recap, our winner will win 16 scrumdiddlyumptious pieces of Bijou chocolates, a special edition bottle of XPM wine, and a ticket to our upcoming Confluence Bootcamp, which is live online and instructor-led. So I don't know about everybody in the audience, but I think that sounds like an amazing prize, you know, chocolates and wine alone. But the Confluence Bootcamp I've taken myself, it is a fantastic course. So let's jump back into the tasting. I think we're going to do the XPM chocolate next, which has got the little dongle on it. I am so excited for this, but I want to send out a poll before we get started. So if Kylie could send out that poll to everybody. I'm not very good with names, but I think everybody in this audience can think of a good Willy Wonka candy name, but we've got a few for you to choose from. So we've got, the first one is XPM's Snozberry Surprise. To me, that kind of sounds a little snotty, but that's okay. I think that one's good. The second one is the XPM Wonder Crump. To me, kind of sounds like a dance, getting crumpy with it. The third is the XPM Darksome Dongle Loop. So for anyone that doesn't know, the little logo that we have on there, we actually refer to that as the XPM dongle. So I think that one's pretty good. The last one is Flavory Savory XP Yum. That's kind of good. What do you think, Maggie?
That's clever. That's clever for sure.
You think that one?
Yeah.
I'm kind of going for Wonder Crump. That sounds like a lot of fun. Vicky, Tony, what do you guys think?
XP Yum.
Oh yeah, it's got to be XP Yum.
Yeah.
That's just
Okay. We're gonna have Kylie show us the results of that poll here in a second. but let's go ahead and talk about how this chocolate was made, and I'm going to dive right in.
Yeah, so this one is a 72% dark chocolate from Venezuela. It's a really mild dark chocolate. It's a little earthy. It's going to pair really well with like coffee kind of earthiness, but otherwise it's very cocoa forward. There's not a ton of other notes. Yeah, it's super smooth. A lot of people I think 70% or higher chocolate's going to be real bitter, and it's not it's either the bean or the roast is what makes it bitter. And so some varietals of cacao can be a little bit on, that's kind of their flavor profile, is to be a little bit more on the astringent side. But alternatively, it's generally, if you treat it right and you roast it right and you make it right, the chocolate itself, darkness really shouldn't be super bitter. So this is a really approachable 72% dark.
Yeah.
The square shape is the same as that first passion fruit one, where it's a big sort of slab of ganache that gets cut and then run under the little chocolate waterfall. The biggest difference would be in design, because this is your logo. So that's essentially screen printed cocoa butter.
Oh, that's neat.
On what's called a transfer sheet. So it's like a really thin piece of like acetate plastic that gets screen printed with whatever you'd like it to be on there, because you can find anything related to any holiday or whatever, or you can get something specific and custom made. And so when it runs under the conveyor belt and under the waterfall of chocolate, and then it runs out, and then I have, like a secondary conveyor belt with like parchment paper on it to sort of catch the finished product, and the chocolate is still wet. If you put it right on top of that, it adheres to it, and essentially the cocoa butter and the crystallization of the transfer sheet kind of sits on top of the actual chocolate, and so the cocoa butter kind of fuses to the chocolate, and then as it's drying, you can pull off the acetate, and it has transferred from one to the other.
Oh, that's awesome.
And if you notice between the two, it's a little bit shinier. That's because, again, the shiny plastic acetate is going to be what the chocolate reflects, as opposed to it just drying on its own.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that one is absolutely delicious. Tony, Vicky, what did you guys think about this one?
That's my winner.
On the passion fruit one,
Yeah,
I
that's a
think.
close second, but that's the one.
But it is
I was
good.
going to say, they are fantastic. Okay, Kylie, do we have a result for that poll? I want to see what everybody thinks that the name for this guy should be. It is the Flavory Savory XV Yum. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. There you go. You've got a new name for your chocolate.
Changes the menu.
Oh, goodness. Thank you. Oh, what did you say, Tony?
I want a t-shirt.
Yeah, you were the winner on that one. Okay. Thank you so much, Maggie. Once again, it was absolutely delicious. Up next, Tony's going to talk to us about the issue list and the automation.
Okay, Vicky showed you some great customizations and some of the outcomes of some of those things. I kind of want to explore some of these other buttons that are on the left side of the project that you're seeing here, including things like adding a shortcut. So Vicky had connected it to the Confluence space. What if you want to put a link to that here, or a link to wherever your document repository might be? So for us, it'd be a Google Drive folder or something like that. Or if you're working with an external client, maybe this is the client's web address that you can put in there. So great way to get that information onto your site so that your people in your project can quickly get to those things and use them. So
it's a really simple feature, but I think when you really utilize that, you just make a place that's really useful for your teams.
exactly.
Giving them the quick access to the resources that they need.
So let's take a look at other ways to visualize your work. The neat thing about a Jira Work Management project is that it offers built in these different ways to look at the work. And depending upon how you work, what your role is, what your responsibilities are, might make a difference as to which node you use to see how the work is going. And so this is that Team A project that I created at the beginning. And we're getting ready to look at maybe the next 2 months worth of tasks that my team is going to use. This list view could be a great way to just get those tasks out there, start creating those things. And so here I could create and just start creating those. So scope the next 2 months is a task. And then I'm going to have another one, and that is get meeting requirements, whatever it is that I'm going to be doing, as granular as I need to as far as the different tasks go. And then I have the ability to reorder these if I want to. And so this is great for when you rank and then you go to your board you're going to see that you put the items in the order that you want to have them done from top to bottom. So great tools for using how to just create them quickly. I love this idea. You can set the dates if you want to, or just simply just start generating those items. Let me flip back over to my new employee project because I have a few more items on there. Another way to visualize, again, here's the board, but what if I look at it in the calendar view, or the timeline view is another great way to view this, because now you can see as you start to set dates and due dates on these, you can have a visualization of any types of overlaps. You're not really doing dependencies, but you can actually see where they're falling under your schedule. So if you need to organize your resources for that, or even reschedule some of these things so that they start at a different time, you can begin to adjust this. So for those of you that are used to looking at roadmaps or Gantt charts, this is an excellent introductory tool to that. We're not going to really get into high level planning with this tool, but it is a great way to view it and do some basic manipulation using this in this timeline view. Now, Vicky showed you the great forms, and we've looked at issues. Another thing that I want you to see are the simple reports, and that is depending upon the type of project that you chose, you have some nice reviewing reports that you can show up here in your Jira Work Management instance, or move over into your Confluence space. And the reason I like the Confluence space idea is that not only do you have the report, but then you can also add context to it, help them see what they're looking for to explain those things. But some great little tools here. And if we were into other Kanban or Scrum related ones, we'd see more in Agile. And we see those in Jira software. But the resolution time report, a good pie chart always helps those things. So
Love a pie chart.
Yeah, but who doesn't love a pie chart? What we need is a pie chart chocolate, Maggie. And then you see different types of recommendations there. So so that's some of the other tools that are there. There's a great link that Jira Work Management just adds to your projects, and that's a link to Atlassian's documentation. So just like Vicky showed you the link to the JQL searching one, which is really a great resource, this is a resource that also will take you to and show you Atlassian's documentation on this. So great tips, understanding definitions of terms. It's a great place to go. It's where we go sometimes when we want to experience this information first. We share this with our clients. So great tools there.
Every day, I feel like I'm using Atlassian's documentation.
Absolutely.
It's very good. Very
Absolutely. Good. And then one other thing I want to show you is that while I've been staying out of the box pretty much, there are some cool things that you can do with automation in your projects. And so if I go to project settings, one of the options is automation. This is kind of the back end of the project itself. Some of you who have been project administrators may see these things. But I was able to quickly create a new rule in automation that whenever I move on my new employee project all the way to the last column to the right on the board, it's going to generate a new issue in another project using the same name of the employee. And it has a set date of 90 days for their 90-day review. And it's a great little tool. Let me show you how it works. So if I go back to my board and I move Veruca Salt, so she's been in documents, she's in IT provisioning, the final review of her onboarding, and then she is onboarded. And as soon as I do that, I have created, or Jira Work Management created for me. I didn't have to do the work, they did it. If I go to the employee review, I see that Veruca is now added as a new issue on my 90-day review. So great tools for allowing you to not only manage it and customize it, but then let Jira do some work for you using the automation. So let's see. So as you've kind of seen some of the functionality of it, and this is kind of a quick review. If you need to see this again, or if you need to see other people in your organization to see what Jira Work Management can do for you, we actually have, it's this week, but I want to show it to you in our site, xpm.com. We have under events, and this is the Jira Work Management for All. The next one actually is this week. It's a free webinar. We have a webinar every Thursday at 11 a.m. Central. And we talk about a variety of topics, and this is the one for this Thursday, but it'll arrive probably every 6 weeks or so, we'll offer it. So if you can't make it this time, you can catch it the next time. Kylie's going to share that link with you that's in there. And then if you've looked at that, or if you just have some questions, if things have made you think about how Atlassian product could be used in your organization and how maybe we at XPM can help you with those things, we'd love to have you that conversation with you if that would fit your needs, your stakeholders, your decision makers. And so Vicky and I are going to have our emails placed into the chat. So if you need to reach out to us, we'd be happy to answer your questions, get you in touch with right people to go further if necessary. There's nothing we like more to do than to work with our clients in their successful implementation of Atlassian products like Jira Work Management.
Absolutely.
Bailey, it's been a great time. And Maggie, thank you for joining us and feeding us this wonderful, wonderful stuff. I think I'd like to have another one. What do you think?
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you so much, Tony, for that great explanation. All right, everybody, this is the last chance to enter that grand prize. And just as a little reminder, our winner will be leaving this event with our 16-piece of Bijou chocolates to share with family and friends. Or not, I wouldn't. I would eat them all myself. The XVM Special Edition wine, which actually comes from one of the wineries we work with often in Paso Robles, California. We do virtual wine tastings. Your best chance to be included in one of those is to follow us on LinkedIn. Hey, Kylie, would you mind dropping the link to that LinkedIn post in the chat so that everybody can see? And if you're interested, you can react to the post. I think it's the support reaction, which on LinkedIn is the little, you're like holding your hands up, I guess. So while you're doing that, we're going to go over that very last aspect of our prize, which is a ticket to our live online Confluence bootcamp, which really is for everybody. Confluence is Atlassian's wiki-style editor that effortlessly integrates with other tools in the Atlassian ecosystem. This is your last chance to enter, and the winner is going to be announced right after this 4th tasting. So sit tight. At the end, Vicky and Tony will be available to answer questions, and we'll answer as many as we can right after that last chocolate tasting. Okay, Maggie, I am assuming that the best was saved for last. Tell me all about it.
All right, so our last chocolate's going to be raspberry. So it is a 64% dark chocolate from Madagascar. The bean itself is already very sort of red fruit tart on its own. So it does have a bit of that extra acidity, which I think in some instances can kind of come off as being bitter, but it's mostly just sort of overly, think of like a really tart berry. It's going to give you that kind of tartness in the back of your mouth. So it's not necessarily bitter. It's like close, but in a different realm, but it sort of enhances the sort of berry flavors anyway. But I think raspberry dark chocolate is such a classic pairing you can't do without. I feel like it's a pretty general crowd pleaser.
Absolutely. And that one was just so creamy and fantastic.
Thank you.
So how do you decide the regions to pull your chocolates from? You've said that it's been from Madagascar. Or...
Madagascar, Peru, and Venezuela is what we had today. And then the passion fruit is milk chocolate, which
you can get anywhere.
Just kind of milk chocolate. I'm not, I don't have that many single origins of those. The different regions, like I had kind of mentioned, kind of give their own different profiles. And so it's kind of less about, oh, I'm making a raspberry, what fruit do I do? And more like I find the chocolate, I figure out what region it's from, I figure out what its tasting profile is like, and then from there I can kind of narrow down what I would want it to be. You could do raspberry with any kind of dark chocolate, and I'm sure it would be delicious because raspberry and dark chocolate is great. And so this is just kind of an extra step towards kind of enhancing the raspberry profile flavor instead of it just being a general dark chocolate, which would still be delicious. And so this is just kind of an extra step. So it's kind of a twofold. If I find something that sounds really interesting that has a pairing that I've never really done before, I have a 64% from Dominican Republic that pairs really well with yellow fruits. So like banana, mango, pineapple.
Yeah.
Which I don't do a lot with mango. And so I was like, oh, that sounds really cool. And so it's kind of sometimes I start with a flavor and then I pick the chocolate, and sometimes I find the chocolate and it kind of leads me to the flavor.
Yeah.
Makes any sense?
No, that makes total sense. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how many different regions do you pull chocolate from?
So Oh boy, I want to say I currently have Venezuela, Ecuador, Dominican Republic, Madagascar, and then I have one that's the Caribbean, so it's not technically considered single origin, but it is from the same region. It's just from multiple multiple islands. So that one's a little bit more like red blend versus a set grape, and so it's a little more chocolate forward as opposed to having specific characteristics. So I would say probably 5.
That's
I
awesome.
think right now.
Yeah, that sounds like a good spread. Oh
Thanks.
my goodness. Yes. Thank you, Maggie. These were absolutely spectacular. I hope everyone enjoyed these as much as we did. And thank you again for walking us through these lovely creations.
Sure, no problem.
To everyone that shared your golden ticket on LinkedIn, we loved seeing all your photos. And now is the moment you have all been waiting for. Can I get a little bit of a drum roll? Our winner is Ricky D. Leon. We will be reaching out to you directly via email after this event. And I just want to thank everyone who has joined us today. I hope that you learned something. I hope you tasted something great. I hope you had fun. And I really hope to see you again. We do events like this all the time. And the best way to stay in the loop is you can check our webpage often, or you can just follow us on LinkedIn. Kylie is going to throw our LinkedIn down in the chat so that you can go ahead and follow us. And Maggie, I really just want to take a second again and thank you so much for joining us in studio today.
No
it has
problem.
been awesome.
Thank you. That was delicious.
I'm glad. Thanks.
Yes. So if you were not the grand prize winner and still wanted to get your hands on some Bijou chocolates, you can order from Bijou online, correct? And then they can be shipped. That is awesome. Yep. Awesome. I'm going to have Kylie put that link down there as well. So go and order yourself some wonderful chocolates. Now we're going to kick it over to a Q&A session. So I'm going to read these out to you, Vicky and Tony, and you guys can answer. Does that sound like a plan?
Perfect.
Okay, perfect. So the first one that came in says, we're in Jira Cloud and use team managed products or projects. How is Jira Work Management different from that?
Sure. You want me to take this one?
Yeah.
All right. So team managed projects are a type of project that you can make in Jira Work Management as well as Jira software. So you may be using Jira software right now. A team managed project is exactly what it sounds like. It is a project that is managed by the team, meaning that that team, as they're using their project, can create their own workflows, fields, issue types, etc. But all of those customizations sit only within their project. So again, they can't be shared with other projects. For that reason, we often recommend using company managed just because it's easier to standardize and scale. Jira Work Management has the opportunity for you to either have the team managed project capability or the company managed. What makes Jira Work Management different than, let's say, Jira software is a lot of the visualizations that we showed today are out of the box with Jira Work Management. And then if you use Jira software, that's where you get more of those agile capabilities like Kanban and Scrum boards and reports around that and such. So there's kind of 4 different concepts we're talking about there, and you can have a combination of really any of them.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that explanation, Vicky. That was fantastic. The next one that we've got is, scrolling away. I think this could work well for my teams, but it looks expensive. What's the cost?
Okay, fair enough. Let me share. It's really easy to look up the potential cost for you. By the way, one of the things that we at XPM can do is assist you in your licensing of your Atlassian products. And so if you want to come to us and talk to us about it too, but it's for you to get a ballpark of what it's going to cost you. It's real easy. Go into a Google and type Jira Work Management pricing and then follow the link. And they do this with all their products. It's really useful to see. And then you can, punch in the number of users you might have, and then whether you want to bill monthly or annually, and there is a discount if you do it at the annual rate, but you can get an idea about how much it's going to cost and what the difference is between the different types here. So Jira Work Management has the free level, which we actually recommend for those of you that are small teams that you just want to get your feet wet and see if it's going to work. It's a great way to do it for 10 or fewer users. Use that and start with that. And then if you decide that your larger organization would like to jump in, that's when you can start to see the different features. And there are a few features that you would probably recommend moving into the standard for?
Yeah, so you get a few more automation executions. You can see there on that top row now, you get 500 executions per month. So if you're really leaning heavily on that automation, you're probably going to want to move up to standard. And then really the permissioning. So with the standard level, you do get issue level security, that issue level permissioning, advanced permissions, and also project roles. With the free version, really anyone can see everything. If you want control over that, scaling up to the standard level is your best bet. I will also mention that if you look into other Atlassian products, sometimes there are other tiers above standard as well. So like Tony said, it's really easy to just Google any of the products and get a good idea, a good ballpark of that price.
That's awesome. That'll definitely be useful for some people looking back on this after the event. So this one is specifically for Tony. When we were looking at the timeline view, can you see the dependencies?
What you do get is a visualization of any overlaps. It's not necessarily viewing a dependency. Atlassian has other tools for doing that. So this is really not like advanced roadmaps, which comes with the Jira Software Premium level. But it is kind of a neat way to at least visually. So if I were to work with this, I would probably, I would deal with the ranking of the issues maybe to see how things are connected with each other. That would be one way to do it. And so, yeah, it is a simple visual. It's a good visual. But if you're really looking for managing dependencies, you're probably looking at another Atlassian product.
Okay, awesome. So we've got another one that's in here. It says, I love the idea of an ideation project. Is there a way to make it open to the public so it's not just limited to our internal employees?
That's a great question. So with Jira Work Management, we are utilizing that form internally, meaning anyone who has that license for using Jira Work Management, and anyone who can create issues in the project can utilize the form. If you want to go a little bit more robust than that and utilize it outside of your company, Jira Service Management is actually the product you're going to be looking for. It is has more robust form functionalities. You can have multiple forms with that, and you can also open those up and utilize that portal, if you will, for contacting or allowing your external customers to contact you. I know you work a lot with Jira Service Management, Tony. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that functionality?
Yeah, it's the idea that when you put it out public, they don't have to have a license to be able to enter a new issue or request into your portal. So yeah, Jira Service Management is very extensible for those services.
Okay, awesome. Does this tool mix and match with regular Jira products?
Yeah, so if you have Jira Work Management as a part of your larger ecosystem at your company, it can interact with those other projects. It often does get into who has what license as to who can visualize across those projects, but absolutely you can have that interaction if you do have teams needing to utilize this functionality, while you have other teams needing to utilize that agile functionality, for example, in Jira software.
Okay, awesome. We've got another one that says, I'm going to sign up for the Jira Work Management webinar, which awesome. I'm so glad that you plan to do that. If we like it, what's the next step if we want XPM's help?
You want to take that one, Tony?
Reach out to us. You have our emails. You can also just reach out to our project office. It's team@xpm.com. And start the conversation. That's how so many of our relationships with our clients start with. You got questions. We want to know you and see if we can be the right fit for you. We want to help you get the right Atlassian products, and then we want to see if we're the right solution provider as well. And so that's half the fun, is just getting to know each other, scoping out the work, and then making magic happen.
Yeah, it really is a no strings attached conversation. We want to make sure it's a fit. We really pride ourselves on just providing value and making sure that we are going to be able to provide value for your team and that these tools are the right fit. And if they are, fantastic. We love getting to work with new customers. And if not, that's okay. It's a no strings attached conversation that we're always looking to have. So I'll also add that if you lose those emails ever, you can always go to our website and contact us there. These conversations, I'll also add, we don't really have salespeople here.
Right.
You'll be speaking with some of our consultants. So it could be Tony and I, it could be some of our other colleagues. We're all Atlassian certified. We all work with these tools every day. And we go into these conversations really looking to solve your problem in whatever way that may be. All right.
That
Bailey,
is
is there
awesome.
another one?
Thank you. Oh, sorry. That is something that I really enjoy about XPM is the fact that these are no strings attached conversations, and we really do put the customer and their needs first, which is a fantastic part of this company. We've got another one that says, I've heard that we can't use epics in Jira Work Management projects. Is that true? And that is the reason they've stayed away from them in the past.
Yeah. You want to take it or me?
Well, the issue type does exist, but when you're working in just a Jira Work Management instance, you really don't get to take advantage of that hierarchy because there isn't the epic link field that comes with Jira software. And so while you can sort of do it, but it's not in its full feature, it really is something that requires, that actually came with when Jira software was added to the Atlassian ecosphere. Jira Work Management is kind of like its original product, Jira Core used to be called, and it was a simple task and bug catcher. But when they added Jira software, that's when Epic got added and Epic Link was added.
Yep. Yeah. So if you need that real parental use case of an Epic, you're going to want to look at Jira software.
And then even higher up than that, if you're looking to scale, then you really want to look at the premium subscription to Jira software so that you have advanced roadmaps, which allows you to create an infinite hierarchy of issue types.
We've mentioned advanced roadmaps a few times. We also have a webinar that discusses that and gives a demo of Jira Work or of advanced roadmaps. It's called our Introduction to Portfolio Management webinar. Kylie, if you wouldn't mind throwing a link to that in the chat as well. It's a great product. We work with it all the time. Always happy to have a conversation about this as well. But that webinar should give you a good overview of what that product does.
Absolutely.
And the next one's a
okay. This one is, our teams are using Trello. Is this product a replacement or a complement?
That's a really great question. So it could be either, really. It really just depends on what your team is needing. Trello is a great Kanban list style tool. It is something that we use here for individual to-do lists frequently, or even when we're planning events like this, sometimes we use Trello. What Jira Work Management can present is a bit more of that control over a workflow, adding in lots of different fields. The visualizations, a lot of those are unique to Jira Work Management as well. So it really could work in tandem, just depending on how you're using Trello, or it may be the more sophisticated version of that Kanban style that you may be looking for. So we're always happy to have those types of conversations as well to help you figure out what you really need. So if that is a question that's going through your brain right now, again, just reach out. We have these conversations every day and love to get to the bottom of those problems with people.
Absolutely. Okay, Vicky, this one is also for you. It says, Vicky, how many forms can you create within a single project?
Yeah, so with Jira Work Management, we do have the ability to create one form per project. So you will be able to, here in the form section, any of, or I should say, most of the field types you are able to add to this form. And as long as they're on your screen, you can add them to the form. But within a project, we do just have one form possibility. Like I mentioned earlier, Jira Service Management has the ability for more form functionality. And if you're really needing a robust set of forms in one project, that may be the product for you. Otherwise, you may just be looking at multiple Jira Work Management projects.
Jira software would also have issue collectors.
Yes.
Kind of similar type of idea.
Yeah.
That you could have multiple issue collectors in Jira software.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you guys. Are issue details available as a Confluence widget?
That's a great question. Confluence does have a ton of integration with Jira. You are able to utilize either what you saw whenever I pulled up Confluence was just pasting the link essentially, and you can see quite a bit of that chocolate ice cream that never melts has the link, Tony. You are able to visualize quite a bit of information that way. Additionally, you are able to utilize some macros. Help me with the name of them, Tony.
There's the Jira lists.
Yeah.
And
the filter view, you can do chart views and pull in lots of information from Jira as well. So a couple different ways you can do it, but yeah, you can view quite a few issue details from Jira in Confluence pages.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, this one's a little long. At the beginning, you showed us that there are various project templates specifically within the Jira Work Management section. I'm trying to understand how Jira Work Management sits in the Atlassian ecosystem of products, i.e. Confluence and Jira. Is this like a skin or does it sit on top of Jira?
Okay.
Yes and no.
Yeah. So, Jira comes in various forms. We've been talking about Jira Software, Jira Service Management, and Jira Work Management now. They all kind of have a lot of similarities, but really they solve for different needs. So we've been showing today that Jira Work Management is really great for teams that are trying to follow a simple process and just need to get their work visualized. They just need to be able to say, here are the tasks we need to get done. Here are the due dates for those, and have those various visualizations to work together and collaborate. Jira Software takes that and amplifies it really and adds in agile capabilities like the Scrum boards that allow you to do sprints, Kanban boards, lots of reporting around that. And it still has things like automation and a lot of the customization capabilities. And then we have Jira Service Management that really solves for that ITSM need. It has lots of functionality like the customer portal we've been talking about to allow you to really interact with that allows you to really interact with your customers, and also has lots of other add-ons that Atlassian has required, like Insight, Status Page, et cetera, to help you with that ITSM and change management. So they're really all different products that just solve for different needs. Confluence is that wiki-style documentation and collaboration tool. So it kind of solves a different need. It solves this need for us to be able to create documentation or share information and really serve as this content portal across our organization. So it can be that one place where everyone can go and knows that they can find all of the information they need, whether it's a video like we have here, links to Jira, links to external resources. What we can do is create this space for people to easily locate that information and also easily collaborate on it. And that Confluence interacts with all of those other Jira products as well. So we saw it with Jira Work Management today. You can fully integrate a Jira software project and a Confluence space. And Jira Service Management relies heavily on Confluence as that knowledge portal, or knowledge base, I should say, that allows you to provide information to those customers, again, whether that's internal or external. So Jira Work Management fits in as that easy team level tracking, and then it can easily scale into those other opportunities as well and interact with them quite well.
If you're already a Jira software instance, you could use the business project templates, which are not as fully realized as your agile ones using Scrum or Kanban, but you do have a lot of functionality there that you can make look similar to your Jira Work Management.
That was a fantastic explanation, guys. Thank you. Maggie, this one's for you. So with Bijou, if they're going to submit a custom order, how long does that take?
It kind of depends on what you're looking for. If you're thinking custom, like it's for a wedding or something, I usually ask for 2 weeks out. Otherwise, I guess custom order is kind of nebulous. I've got, like I said, 18 different flavors usually at all times in the case that you can kind of pick and choose. If you're going to order online, it's a bit harder to pinpoint exactly which ones you want because the website really only lists the 12 that I have nice professional photos for that I have all the time. You're always welcome to call and sort of see what we've got. If you have any questions regarding like specialty events or something like this where it has your logo on it or things like that, there's a little bit of a time frame because I don't make those transfer sheets. So I need them to be sent out and then made and then sent back to me. So there's usually a few weeks wait time on that at least. But there's a couple different options for making things different colors, especially if they want to match their event or their wedding or something.
Okay, cool. Question that I had, how long does it take for shipping typically? So say that I ordered it, is it United States only?
Yeah, so I ship via UPS. So there's a couple different options when you're looking online. You can either choose the ground option, the next day air, or the second day air options. So obviously the price kind of varies a little bit depending on where you're at and which option you pick. I would say most ground can either be there between next day and like 3 or 4 days, assuming it's not a holiday. I usually ship Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays.
Gotcha. And then what's the shelf life of these chocolates?
Yeah, they last for a few weeks at least, room temp. They don't need to put in the fridge or anything. And at least for shipping, when it starts getting warmer, I watch the temperature. I make sure that it arrives with an ice pack and insulation. So
good, awesome.
I ship year round.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Somebody said, when is the next event like this going to happen? I can go ahead and take that one. If you want to check on our XPM webpage, or like I said, with LinkedIn, if you follow us, we're always posting about those events. We do send out some monthly emails if you subscribe to our email list, which is also through our website. That's a good way to stay involved. Yeah. Do you guys, Tony and Vicky, have anything to add? I think those are our main ways to stay up to date.
Yeah, I think we're going to be announcing a new event at Teams 22, which is actually happening next week. It's Atlassian's annual conference. So stay tuned with that. Like Bailey said, it will be posted on LinkedIn, and it'll also be available on our website after that as well.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm excited for that new event. So that'll be a great announcement to make. We've got another one that says, when creating new issues in a project using the Confluence page, is it possible to add additional fields other than summary description, such as a due date or something like that?
How do you create an issue in a Confluence page, Vicky?
You are absolutely able to create an issue in a Confluence page. It's pretty simple. You just have to highlight some text on a published page and press create issue. And this question is asking if you're able to add more fields other than this summary and description option. The answer is out of the box, no. There are some add-ons in the ecosystem on the Atlassian marketplace that should be able to help you with that. But out of the box, we are limited to these 2 fields. It's still very powerful. It's a great way to capture information as it was originally written. So I've worked with a lot of organizations who use Confluence as a note-taking platform. So whenever they are in a meeting, somebody is taking notes in Confluence. And then after that meeting, someone can just take the original information, copy it, and spin up that Jira issue in their project.
And if you had it in a table, you can take several rows of one and create and make several issues at the same time.
Yeah, so it's a really great feature, but yes, it is limited to the summary and description right now. But do look in that marketplace and see if there are any add-ons that might be helpful to you.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to do one more question and then we're going to wrap this up. So the last question we've got today is, will you be posting this event online, or when will you be doing it again? I have some colleagues that weren't able to join us today.
Yeah, so we will be posting this later this week. We'll put our YouTube channel in the chat again, but it should be posted in a few days, and really excited for other people to get to watch this after the fact. So thank you.
Okay, awesome. So we're going to give you some time back before your next meeting. But if we didn't get to your question, don't fret. You can send those questions to team@xpm.com. That's team@xpm.com. Or Tony and Vicky have dropped their emails in the chat. And we'll have one of our experts review those questions and see if that's something that we can help you with. With that being said, this concludes our Golden Ticket for Jira Work Management event. And I want to thank you all once again for your kind attention. And thank you, Maggie, for your wonderful treats today. Have a great day, everyone. And we hope to see you again soon.
Bye,
Thanks, everyone.